Coming up. Now, I can hold it back. Ready as I'll ever be. Now what I do with it? Now what I do with it? Vision is seeing something in the future. I'm not seeing it for what it is right now, I'm seeing what the potential is and what it's going to turn into. People hire us to come and visit their properties,
consult with the landowner, increase wildlife numbers, improve habitat. So it is extremely hot. It's upper 90s here in Missouri, but we're not working in the habitat per se, but getting the stage set for deer season.
So as we follow the progression of the Prairie Hollow property, we put in the food plots not too long ago, planted the Stratton soybeans. We're making huge changes to the land to benefit the wildlife, but today we're moving in something that's beneficial to us, and that's a redneck blind. One of those spots in the Ozark Mountains where we've got elevation changes, and so if you're sitting on the ground, you can't see the other side of the food plot. So we needed something elevated where we could see the entire field, but also be warm during those cold winter sets.
You know, the redneck, it looks kind of big and cumbersome. It's a big 6x6 blind, but really setting it up and getting the feet underneath of it, and then with a little bit of manpower, you can lift that blind up.
Yeah! All right, I got it. Going on the scene now. Grab a couple of buddies, some tools. It doesn't take very long to get that baby standing up.
Oh, baby.
The whole strategy with this setup is got a brand new food plot, just under 2 acres, big bedding area to the south. It's west and south facing slopes, so we know deer are going to be using that to bed in during the winter. We have hopefully standing soybeans. We're going to have a great food source, plus we're going to have the blind right there to where we can just get in, get out without ever alerting the deer. Summertime in southern Missouri especially, it's hot. We have temperatures in the mid-90s, sometimes triple digits, and it's pretty miserable when you think about land management and all the things to do, trimming tree stands, so we definitely try to reward ourselves with some time in cooler places, and growing up for me, that was the river. So we're headed with the production crew to the Niangua River. It's actually a river I've never even fished, but it's Nathaniel's home turf. I'm going with Matt, my brother. We're gonna see if we can catch some smallies.
It is hot, it's the middle of July, food plots are already planted, and we're just kind of taking it easy from habitat work. So it's a fun time just to get on the river, cool down some, and spend time with friends. The rivers here are absolutely incredible. Gorgeous cold water spring fed. And they have the native smallmouth. They fight hard. You cannot beat views like this, water like this, and fish. It's a fun time, no doubt. See you, buddy.
Guys are all naturally competitive, so you've got guys using the fly fishing, guys using the conventional spinning tackle, and the guys using their little ribbons and twirly fly rods.
Hey, Nathaniel. You guys catching any down there? He said it was a pretty good one. Got us all to look to see him reel in about a whopping 7-inch smallie. He was at least 8, I'll give you that.
So we're out here on the Prairie Hollow property today on Shimpaw Ridge, where the first phase 1 of the timber harvest happened. It's about 120 to 150 acres. They came in, cut a bunch of the trees, left a lot of really good healthy trees, but it's first step in improving the landscape for the wildlife. To me, this is what's most exciting of all the food plots, of all the other stuff. This is the timber harvest. Phase 1 of the process, basically. We cut the trees, or the logger did, and now we have just this huge explosion of green growth.
Well, and what you said was phase 1, and that's certainly the truth, because there is extra work and additional work to do. There's a bunch of scraggly little hickories and some dogwoods and other scrag oaks that need to be, and elms that need to be taken out of here.
Yeah.
And we'll come back and do that for various reasons and in different ways too, but that's going to open up even more, or turn it back to that woodland setting.
Oh, totally. And when you think about a timber harvest, you go across the country and you see a timber harvest, phase 1 complete, take your money, put it in the bank, and that's
you're
it.
done. You walk away. Yeah.
And we can set it up to where we're going to come into a TSI after the timber harvest, do more of a woodland restoration, so the trees that are left are much healthier and are growing a lot faster.
I think that's the difference of most timber harvests. Is the goal is to harvest the timber, but then it's like nothing else, nothing follow up. But we have a goal. It's not to just harvest the timber, it's to do a woodland restoration. So the summer months are always a great time to basically have the mindset of monitoring things, monitoring the habitat, some of the work that you've done prior to the growing season. And for us, that was a timber harvest. We had a crew come in and log portions of the property. So it's now time to monitor that with trail cameras. We're on the edge of that timber harvest, and the amount of browse that we've been seeing through all that regeneration has been unreal. This is just a perfect corridor for them to walk down and get to the other ag fields, and there's a spring just up here, so all this kind of combining together is really a perfect place for a camera.
And it goes with that whole timber harvest happened. They're not really active on the food plots. Where are they once we move the cameras in here on the logging operation? That's where they're living. So
they're living, they're eating. Yeah. It's crazy. I'm excited to see what's on here. So we pulled some camera cards from across the property, some within the logging, some over food plots, and now it's time to take them back to the office, look through them, put them into Deer Lab if we've got some hit listers that have shown up, and try to find some patterns so we can use that to our advantage for this fall.
Big Show, that's the deer that...
He's on the top.
Yeah.
You automatically think
Last year he was probably 3.5, but a stud already. I mean,
great frame. Hopefully he's going to build on.
Yeah, and he was very active.
Well, he hit most on the Prairie Hollow property. He hit most of the cameras throughout at least one point of the year, so we got a lot of points to build a.
Most of them in the heart part. He never really went to the fringes,
south, but which is a good thing.
Yeah, no doubt. So hopefully we can get him.
And the best time of the year to kill him, I think, was when we were looking at that heat map, was about November.
Yeah,
he was just super active.
Late season.
Yeah,
he started showing up more in daylight, but that's just one of them. Hippie's the one that we really want to focus on, because, you know, last year we had the encounter with him.
Yeah,
and
late October.
And then he was very active even on the farm.
Well, yeah, he migrated up there and stayed a lot November, December, in really a small area.
When you look at the heat map, like, you think, okay, all summer long he was down around the creek.
Yeah, but that's an area that really he's super harvestable because of the distinct bedding and then the 2 major food plots in that area.
Yep.
I think if we put in time there on that section.
Improve the food plots, because we didn't really have them last year.
Not much.
I got a couple hit listers planned out this year that we saw last year. Big Show, Hippie, who's a really nice deer that we saw last year, actually had an encounter with him. And then he's showing up this year on one of the new food plots, and we're really looking forward to trying to get him tagged this fall. A lot of our rivers here in the Ozarks are spring fed. They're a lot cooler than some of the other places in the country, and that's what makes them so unique and so cool. And there's a big spring that dumps into the Niangua on this part of the river, so we had to check it out.
This is a river that I call home on the Niangua. The cool thing about this is it's on private property. It's on a stretch of about 17 miles where there's no public access.
Wow.
So not many people visit this, or if they even know it's here when they paddle by.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
it's
kinda-
just a little trickle out
Yeah.
there.
But this is left unchanged for the most part, because we've had good landowners here on this ranch that have seen the value in it and left it alone.
We always say, big land, big responsibility.
And if it gets messed up, then our kids, our grandkids, their kids
Won't ever
whatever.
get to experience it.
Yeah, never.
Yeah.
We'll just be old timers talking about the way it used to be.
Yeah. Are we
cold?
jumping in?
Let's go.
We got to jump in.
Are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to jump in. Are you kidding me?
You got to dive in. You can't just stick the toe in. You got to just go full bore and dive in and see how cold it is. Definite shrinkage, yeah.
I feel like a newborn calf now, coming up here with numb legs. That's cold.
So as always with the crew, it's an enjoyable day. A lot of sunburn, a lot of fish, a lot of stories, tall tales, you know, being out there in nature, taking part of what Missouri does have to offer. Always a fun time.